Kathy. Good. How are you?
Caitlin, I just want to personally congratulate you on being named captain for the 20.
Caitlin Clark just walked into the WNBA All-Star Draft like she owned the building, and then proved she absolutely did. She didn't just make history, she steamrolled it. While everyone else was trying to figure out which All-Star to pick first, Clark had a bigger idea. Why not start by trading her own coach on live television?
Cheryl Reeve wasn't going to let them shoot no damn threes. Let's check out.
Let's start with Caitlin. You said you might be aggressive on the trade market once this opened up.
I don't know if this is in the rules. I don't really care. But I think we've already discussed we are going to trade coaches. He's going to take her coach, Sandy Brondello. Let's get it.
Ooh.
It's going to be amazing. Sorry, WNBA, if that's not in the rule. Sandy Brondello, come on over.
Whoa.
Yeah, that happened. Clark wasn't supposed to be calling shots like that, but clearly nobody gave her the memo because she pulled off one of the boldest power moves in league history and did it with a smirk. And just when the league thought they could control the moment, Clark flipped the whole script. Let's rewind. This was Clark's first time as an All-Star captain, and already she joins A'ja Wilson as the only two players to do it in their first 2 seasons. She's averaging 18 points and 8 assists, something no other player has done even once in a second season. And while she was dealing with a groin injury just weeks earlier, fans were busy making sure her name stayed at the top of every ballot. Nearly 1.3 million votes. That's more than the top 30 players combined got in 2023. Let that sink in.
That's Caitlin Clark. That's the Caitlin Clark phenomenon right there. That is a perfect example. The year before she showed up, all the way to what? Basically 13 times the amount of votes, because she almost got 1.3 million.
The WNBA All-Star format didn't know what hit it. Clark showed up, saw the lineup, and said, yeah, I'm gonna do things my way. So what was her first move? Not picking a player, not talking strategy. She literally looked at Nafisa Collier and said, I don't know if this is in the rules, I don't really care. We're trading coaches. That's not confidence. That's pure boss energy. The league had to double check if that was even legal. ESPN producers probably dropped their clipboards, but Clark didn't wait for approval. She just made it happen. She sent Cheryl Reeve, the same coach who left her off the Olympic roster, packing.
There are teams that are below us in the standings by a lot that have 3 All-Stars. Historically, teams at the top get minimum of 3, oftentimes 4. So really disappointing, really happy for Courtney. The obvious one was Fee, but we are disappointed in the coaches voting with regard to their selections for All-Stars.
So last year, Coach Cheryl Reeve had a few things to say about Caitlin Clark. Cheryl Reeve tweeted about a preseason game and how the Lynx weren't going to be playing. And somebody commented, they said, is there a reason why it's not being shown? And someone else commented and they said, because they only care about Caitlin. And Cheryl Reeve tweeted and she said that part. Also, it is good to note that Cheryl Reeve was the head coach of Team USA last year. And of course, they did not select Caitlin Clark. They did not bring her to the Olympics.
And she replaced her with Sandy Brondello, who just led the New York Liberty to the WNBA Finals. That's not petty. That's strategy. And she didn't blink once doing it. While Reeve was probably getting ready to take all the credit for Clark's all-star shine, Clark made it very clear. Nah, we're not doing that. Not on my team. But the wildest part? That was just the beginning. Because once the draft started, Clark didn't slow down. She immediately picked Aaliyah Boston, her Indiana Fever teammate and front court ride or die. Loyalty, chemistry, and skill, all in one pick. She didn't go for headlines, she went for trust. And that's when you knew. This draft wasn't about filling slots. This was Caitlin Clark designing a legacy. And just when you thought she was done breaking norms, Clark reminded everyone who's actually running this league.
Listen, man, I'm excited. I'm excited for the All-Star game. I'm more excited that Caitlin Clark is she drawing a line in the sand. If you a op, she not going. I don't know if Caitlin Clark took a shot with Connor before this, but she didn't care today. She didn't care that she said, I'm going for vibes. If you're no fun, I don't want you around.
After locking in Aaliyah Boston as her first pick, Clark kept building a roster that made one thing clear. This team wasn't here for show. It was here to dominate. Her next move? Picking A'ja Wilson. Yep, that A'ja Wilson, the three-time MVP, the player who's absolutely cooked Clark's team on multiple occasions, and the same woman many fans thought should have been her all-star rival. But Clark doesn't play petty. She plays to win. She picked A'ja Wilson not because it was expected, but because it was smart. That's how you separate competition from respect. While some stars stay bitter, Clark made a business decision, and it was a good one. But hold on, she didn't stop there. She also grabbed Sabrina Ionescu, Satu Sabali, and Kelsey Mitchell. All elite, all versatile. And yes, all players Clark can trust to deliver in clutch moments. Especially Kelsey Mitchell, who's been overlooked time and time again. But Clark made her the first reserve pick, cementing their Indiana Fever bond. This wasn't a random draft. It was surgical team building with a personal edge. Meanwhile, back on the other side, Cheryl Reeve is now coaching Team Collier, the same coach who once said the WNBA is more than just one player.
And I've got all the screenshots. I put them up. I wrote about this in May. Cheryl Reeve, guys, then when that person said, why is this? And then someone said, Caitlin Clark, an unknown. And then Cheryl Reeve, the Olympic coach, while Caitlin Clark was still in the selection pool, goes that part.
The same coach who couldn't even mention Clark's name when she got snubbed from Team USA. So when Clark traded her out, that wasn't just a move. That was a message. Here's where it gets even better. Clark wasn't just picking talent, she was picking tone. She picked players she vibes with, people who uplift, not undermine. She avoided every player who ever tossed shade on social media, made backhanded comments, or acted like she was too big for the league. If you ever tweeted Caitlin Clark's overrated, guess what? You're not on the team. This wasn't about ego, it was about setting the culture. The kind of team that shows up with chemistry, not clicks. A team that actually wants to win together. And with Sandy Brondello coaching, that culture gets even stronger. Brondello's coached finals teams, managed stars, and actually knows how to get the best out of elite players without turning the locker room into a soap opera. Clark didn't draft a team, she built a system. And now the WNBA has to deal with it. But now we've got to talk about the part nobody wants to admit. Clark has more power than most players are comfortable with. While fans broke voting records to give her the captain's seat, the WNBA players voted her the 9th best guard in the league.
Player rankings, they put Caitlin Clark number 9 as far as the guards go. Not number 2 behind, I don't know who would possibly be ahead of her. Not number 3, not 4, not 5. Shout out to LeBron James.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
They put her all the way at number 9 behind Paige, behind her teammate Kelsey Mitchell.
Let that sink in. 9th, behind players like Natasha Cloud, Brittany Sykes, and even Paige Buchers. So what's really going on here? It's not about performance. Clark's averaging 18 points and 8 assists, a stat line nobody else has hit in their second year. She's drawing more fans, selling more jerseys, and boosting league visibility more than anyone since Candace Parker first showed up. But some veterans aren't feeling the shift. They've watched Clark go from college phenom to media juggernaut, and instead of embracing it, they're drawing battle lines.
So will Caitlin Clark be a good pro? Absolutely. Will Caitlin Clark come into the WNBA and do what she's doing right now? Immediately? Absolutely not. Not gonna happen.
Okay. And it shows in the player votes, in the cold shoulders, in the way her name disappears when teammates talk about who really deserves the spotlight.
We're all-stars, and we're going to continue to prove it. Obviously, this is the last week for all-star voting. Camilla, she should be all-star. It's her first year. She could have got it last year with injury, but she should be an all-star this year. I think we've had up and down games, obviously, but being consistent and coming out every night, I mean, obviously, you don't put up 27.
But Clark, she didn't flinch, she doubled down. That All-Star Draft wasn't just a popularity contest. It was her moment to take all that silent criticism and throw it back with receipts. She picked her team, she picked her coach, and she sent Cheryl Reeve, the face of her Olympic snub, packing with one clean sentence.
Congratulations to the Liberty on their first championship. Been around, I don't know, how long has the league been around? 28 years? It took them 28 years. Congrats to them. You know?
The same Cheryl Reeve who subtly downplayed her rookie year. The one who was supposed to coach Clark and maybe steal some limelight during the All-Star spotlight. Now, she's stuck watching Sandy Brondello draw up plays for the very player she sidelined last year. Let's be real. This was Clark's revenge tour and the WNBA handed her the keys. She didn't scream about rankings. She didn't clap back at players who ranked her 9th. She just walked into the draft, built a team that looked like an Avengers lineup, and casually said, "Oh yeah, we're trading coaches too." And the league approved it. Because how could they not? When you bring in 1.3 million fan votes, you're not just a player, you're the product. And Clark knows it. She's not begging for approval anymore. She's not trying to win anyone over. She's winning on the court, off the court, and now on the draft board. This isn't just a comeback from injury. This is Clark announcing she's the face of the future, and the future's already here. And now we've reached the moment where everything comes full circle, because this All-Star game isn't just a showcase, it's a reckoning. The location? Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Clark's house.
And I got traded, yes. My son hit me up after he goes, I've created history. This is awesome, I got traded as a coach. But look, I get to coach with Sabrina. I'm on Caitlin Clark's in Indianapolis. I mean, what a great show. So we'll go out there and have some fun.
This isn't some random neutral site game. This is home court, and it's going to be packed with fans who didn't just show up. They voted in record numbers to put her on that stage. Every seat, full, every jersey, sold, every three-pointer, echoed by a crowd that feels like a college arena packed into a pro venue. Clark isn't walking into an all-star event. She's walking into a statement game. But don't forget what's at stake. Clark's not just proving her popularity, she's proving her place. The same players who ranked her 9th? Yeah, they'll be watching from the bench while Clark throws lobs to Asia Wilson and hits no-look dimes to Kelsey Mitchell. And if that wasn't enough spice, she's going head-to-head with Cheryl Reeve, the coach she traded out of her life like an expired contract. Reeve's sitting on the opposite sideline, probably rethinking every tweet, every media comment, every Olympic Committee meeting where she had the chance to support Clark, but didn't. Now she gets to coach against her in front of a crowd that already chose their queen. And the best part? Clark built this entire empire while staying true to herself. She didn't try to be anyone else. She didn't bow to pressure. She made bold decisions, drafting her fevered teammates like Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell early, showing loyalty over politics. She passed on players with drama and chose teammates with chemistry. She even skipped over Paige Buchers to get Satu Sabali, a move that showed she's watching film, not headlines. This wasn't flash, it was foundation. She didn't just build a team, she built a culture, one that values skill, trust, and strategy over ego. So what's next? The All-Star game is just the beginning. The way Clark handled this draft proves she's no longer the fresh-faced rookie. She's the face of the league, and she knows it. From vote counts to coach trades, from injury recovery to captaincy, she's rewritten what power looks like in the WNBA. Not by yelling louder, but by moving smarter. 2025 might be the year the Fever finally become contenders. Not because of hype, but because they have a leader who just used an all-star draft to show the entire league what leadership actually looks like. And if she dominates on her home floor, you can forget about the rankings. The crown's already hers. If you're enjoying this content and want more like it, be sure to subscribe and stay locked in for every twist and turn of the Caitlin Clark takeover. Thank you.